And we're going to record. Okay, cool. Here we are. Alrighty, let's talk about where we're headed. So as as a PLC, a teacher group, I was talking to the other English 3 teachers, and we just felt like Hate You Give was going too long. Like, that's just it. Hate You Give was just going too long for our tastes, and it felt like it was dragging out. So what we wanted to do was stop the reading where we're at, but continue building off the themes that we've discovered from the Hate You Give, to be able to do something new with it. So we decided to go into um, argument writing so that we can write about some of these things that have kind of come up, these topics, these ideas that have kind of come up through our exploration of the Hate You Give. So what we're going to do today is we are going to start the process of writing an argument essay. And the first place to start, because we didn't want to just like hand you a prompt and say, this is what you have to write about. We want you guys to discover what you want to write about. We want you guys to write about something you actually kind of care about, you know? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a brainstorm just to get ideas of what you might want to write about as we go through with this. So this today, quite literally, is just a starting point for our essay, right? And this is due, I put it down as due on Wednesday, because if you get it done, really by the end of class time on Wednesday, you'll be back like in good place to be able to move towards the next steps. So we're going to start here and then just slowly go step by step by step to be able to create our essay. So this is kind of titled, What Will You Take a Stand For? Right? So Star became more courageous and more willing to speak out. So what makes you want to do that? What makes you want to speak out about something and take a stand? So you're going to draw from your own experiences to respond to the questions here. And the goal is to include as much detail as possible for you to really flesh out those ideas that you have, and writing down your thoughts and examples and things like that. There is no wrong answer here to these questions. So our first prompt is, you may have many identities. So you might have a specific gender identity, your racial identity, your sexuality, religious affiliation, so a different type of religion, or any type of religion, age, interest, athletic, culture, like cultural identities. Think of those identities that you have. How have those helped to shape your life? Are any of those particularly important to you? What are they, if so? Have you maybe encountered any issues with them? That you have a certain identity and people don't like that you have that identity, or if your family members don't like it, or whatever, right? And kind of explore that in your response. What have you experienced in terms of this? If all of your experiences with your identities have been good, that's also something to note. Feel free to put that down. It doesn't just have to be a bad thing. It can also be good things with the identities that you have. So the next thing is, how has your home life shaped you? So your home life can be like your family, your friends, where you live, where you went to school, the country you're from, how many times you've moved, how many states you've been to, how many schools you've been to. Any of these can be things that come up. This can be positive or negative. I know for me, I have a lot of very positive and negative home life things. So those all kind of comes in. Did you encounter any issues while growing up, or continue to encounter any that you feel are important? Any issues with your home life that you're like, this is really important to me in some type of way, right? Did you do things or grow up with certain values that you will take with you as you grow older? Is there anything that you hold really close to your heart that I'm like, I know I'm going to take that with me in my next steps? So take your time to reflect on that. As a student, what issues do you see or encounter in school that you wish more people were aware of? Maybe you see an issue with bullying, both in person, maybe cyberbullying. Maybe you see an issue with certain kids not eating or having enough money to eat. Maybe you see kids not being treated properly in the classroom. It happens. Not every teacher's perfect. Maybe you see that kids are being punished in certain ways depending on certain things, right? And that doesn't seem fair. So find what it is that you might have those issues. Does an issue that you thought of actually affect you or your classmates? And also a great question to ask is, what would you change about school if you could? Because that could help come up with other ideas too. And then the last one is, what are some issues in the community that you have seen or encountered that you believe deserve more attention? Louisville is a big place, guys. We've had Breonna Taylor being a big thing right now. The issues with oh God, I can't think of what it actually stands for. The AC, Cameron Davis or whatever his name is, like almost getting impeached for reasons. The Louisville Metro Police Force has been a whole thing. But also there can be smaller things. I live outside of Louisville. So I don't get to see like the small things that are happening in like your neighborhoods and stuff like that. I don't usually see those because I get all the big things, right? So maybe what are some issues in your community that are even just smaller? Maybe there's a drug issue. Maybe it's one specific type of drug. I know out here where I'm at, heroin's big. And I hate that. Heroin is so rough. Like it's hard to see people on heroin, right? Like that's a community issue that I would have. Maybe there's a lot of theft. We just had a string of car break-ins actually out here, and that it's something that doesn't make me feel safe. Maybe you have something like that going on too. Or maybe it's just that like Flint, Michigan, you don't have clean water. That could be an issue. Or you don't have enough places to be able to go and hang out with your friends. That's a real issue too. Why does that issue matter to you? Whatever issue you think of. What would you like to see happen in regards to that issue? Maybe change, maybe progress, whatever. So the reason that we have these 4 things is because we have you, your home life, your school life, and your community, right? All of these are very important topics. All of these are things that are very important to you and shape you are very important topics. So what you're going to do is once you fill out those responses, we're going to end up kind of whittling it down to something that really, really matters to you. Something that you're like, yeah, this is a problem and it should be fixed. Or this is something that shouldn't change, that people are trying to change. And I think that it shouldn't. Whatever it is that you have a nice, good stance on that we can write about and learn more about. So it's up to you to write your own personal responses and get those turned in for Wednesday. Because I will be sharing on Wednesday during class the next step that you can take if you've already completed this. If you haven't completed this yet, you won't be able to complete the next one. So that's why you really want to try and be on time with getting this in before class. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm going to stop my recording.